Hello again, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at my personal top 10 favorite Resident Evil games. Let's do it. Starting off at number 10, we have Resident Evil Revelations, or in this case, Revelations. Some of the characters are pretty goofy, but I did enjoy the new features they added in the game, like scanning for items, the episodic format of the game, and the music was amazing, which is what lands it at number 10 on my list. Mayday! Coming in at number 9, Outbreak, followed by Outbreak File 2 at number 8. These games were so ahead of their time, it's just ridiculously tragic. If they would have come out just one console generation later, they would have been a massive hit. You know, just the added features of friends list, pretty much everyone having the internet. It's a real shame. I've never really been a fan of multiplayer Resident Evil games, but these games in particular just did it so well, and you really felt like you were with other survivors in Raccoon City. Fans have been clamoring for a sequel or a remake or anything to do with Resident Evil Outbreak ever since. And unfortunately, they just keep making other multiplayer games that aren't Outbreak. So hopefully one day they'll do it. You know, we wanted a remake of 2 for so long, and they finally did it. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll see these games again. Coming in at number 7, Resident Evil Zero. This game, I think, has a special place in my heart because, for one, it was the last game to have the pre-rendered backgrounds, and in this game, they showed them to like their fullest potential. They looked amazing. They still look great, especially in the remaster. The soundtrack was amazing. Probably one of the best in the series. Some people did not like the zapper system. They also did away with inventory boxes in this game. So I remember before this game came out, I was really excited to see like the Bravo team's perspective of things, and I assumed we would be going into the mansion with the Bravo team and kind of seeing how things played out from there. But as you know, if you've played this game, the Bravo team is barely in it. You get on a train in the middle of the woods and you get taken away to some other facility altogether. Also, there's a part in the game where you end up in the underground laboratory, Birkin's laboratory, which is really crazy. And it's a short section, but it really got everybody excited for a Resident Evil 2 remake that we wouldn't get for like another, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. Coming in at number 6, we have Resident Evil 4. This game changed basically not only the Resident Evil franchise, but the video game industry as a whole. When it first came out, I didn't know quite what to think of it, just because it was so different from all the previous entries. But I mean, undeniably, it's a great game. It might not be what some people think of as a true Resident Evil game, but it is without a doubt an amazing video game. The hours that you can put into this, countless, especially with all the content they added. I mean, they added so much content in this game. It was basically enough to make another game. I mean, this is really the gift that keeps giving, Resident Evil 4. And, some people say this is the game that kind of derailed the series, but in the same breath, it also saved the series, without a doubt. So you have to give credit where credit is due. Love it or hate it, it's a classic, and it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the remake whenever that comes out. Coming in at number 5, we have the original Resident Evil. This was the first Resident Evil game I played. When it first came out, I was probably about 10 years old, maybe 11. My friend's older brother rented this from the video store. I remember his brother saying to his mom, when she asked what game he was going to let me play, he said, oh, you know, it's the one with the killer frogs. And obviously I misheard him. He really meant to say killer dogs. So I went into this game, my first playthrough, on the lookout for those killer frogs, which never came. But they did come later on in Resident Evil 0 and other games. I remember just wandering around the mansion for hours on end, getting nowhere, being scared shitless by the violin music, all the creepy music. And I also remember thinking that the whole goal of the game was to just get out of the mansion. So I assumed once you got all the crest or emblems and you unlock that door, that would be the end of the game. Clearly, I was wrong. But, you know, obviously this is the game that started it all, and this is a very special game to me because it was my first experience, and the rest is history. I fell in love with it, and I've been in love with the series ever since. Number 4, Resident Evil 2. This game just took it to a whole nother level. I played Resident Evil 1 obviously before this, and I remember when this came out, they had a demo at this video store. I went and played the demo, was just ecstatic to play this game. And, you know, there had been such a long delay when we got Resident Evil Director's Cut in the meantime. And the game we got was totally different from all the pictures we had seen in the magazines, which obviously later became Resident Evil 1.5. But this game just expanded on everything. More zombies, more monsters, more areas. The soundtrack, in my opinion, is one of the all-time greatest video game soundtracks, period. It just lent so much to the atmosphere of the game. I think another reason why I'm just so in love with this game is because whenever I look at this game, whenever I play this game, it just takes me back to a time that was so special to be a Resident Evil fan. You know, there was the possibilities were endless. You know, the toys were just starting to come out. There was a movie in the works that was allegedly going to be directed by George Romero, you know, the king of zombies himself. And this game was just insanely good. It was insanely good. The whole addition of the scenarios. Whew. You had the bonus mode of the fourth survivor with Hunk and Tofu. And at this time, I mean, not a lot of people had the internet, and there were just rumors galore, and that just made everything so much more exciting. You know, people would just come up with crazy shit, and you would be inclined to almost believe it. With Resident Evil 1, it was like, oh, you can unlock a jetpack and fly around the mansion, or you can unlock a chainsaw. And this game is really what solidified the series. You know, Resident Evil 1 was great, but Resident Evil 2 was basically like the Resident Evil 4 before Resident Evil 4. If you had a PlayStation, you probably had Resident Evil 2, or you at least knew someone who had this game. This game was everywhere, and it was just, it was amazing. Coming in at number 3, we have the remake of Resident Evil 2. I waited for this game to come out for so long. We thought we were going to get it back in the day, especially after we got that teaser in Resident Evil 0, seeing the underground lab. But we never did. We never got it, and years passed and more years passed. And then one day they announced they were making it, and then a lot more time passed, and it finally came out and just blew everybody's fucking mind. This game is a sheer masterpiece. The way they redid this game was amazing. They retained everything we loved about the original, while obviously updating a few things. And it really showed that you can still make a Resident Evil game in the vein of the classics, and it can still be awesome. Coming in at number 2, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This game has a special place in my heart for 2 reasons. One, it was the first Resident Evil game I ever owned. 1 and 2, I just continuously rented from the video store every chance I got. This game I got for Christmas and put so many hours in it. To this day, it's probably still the Resident Evil game I've played the most, just because, I mean, I played the ever-living shit out of this game. And 2, this was the end of the original trilogy and the end of Raccoon City. After this, they would do away with the pre-rendered backgrounds for a while. And I mean, let's be honest, they've been trying to get back to Raccoon City ever since they blew it up. I mean, it was just the perfect setting for these games. I mean, everything between like Nemesis stalking you all over the place, every time you think you're safe, he comes busting in through the door, the window, or somewhere, he's shooting a rocket launcher at you. The tense music that plays when you know he's around. The addition of Mercenaries mode, which has been in a lot of games since. That was one of the things that pissed me off the most about the remake of 3 was the exclusion of Mercenaries mode. You know, it's like you're not going to have Mercenary mode in the game that gave it its name. And finally, coming in at number 1, the remake of Resident Evil 1. For a long time, the original was always my favorite. And then this came out, which basically just enhanced everything. I've just always loved the setting, the story. It's very simple but very compelling. You're out in the middle of the woods in this mansion. You're completely isolated. Your teammates are missing, and slowly, one by one, you find your teammates, usually dead or dying, and their deaths kind of give you a hint of what's to come, what kind of creatures you'll be facing. The mystery of it all. I mean, I remember seeing images of this game in a magazine before it came out, and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it was real. I was like, this looks so damn good. I think it was a picture of a zombie like grabbing Chris out in the wooded area by Lisa Trevor's little cabin, and it just blew me away. The graphics, the music, the addition of things like Lisa Trevor, and especially the Crimson Heads, you know, that was just a great addition altogether, with having to burn the bodies or they'll come back as an even stronger, scarier zombie. I mean, this was just a great, great game. It's really a shame because, you know, it's like the remake of 1, masterpiece. The remake of 2, masterpiece. The remake of 3, I'm not even going to show it. I feel like they just sold us short. You know, being the end of Raccoon City, the end of the original trilogy, and just a remake of one of the most beloved classic Resident Evil games, I just expected more. You know, honestly, I expected another masterpiece. Well, there you have it, my top 10 favorite Resident Evil games. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe out there.